The corridor outside Judge Judy's courtroom buzzed with hushed whispers as a 70-year-old blind woman carefully felt her way toward the bench, her trembling hands searching for stability, her dignity hanging by a fragile thread. Behind her, her son stood with arms folded, his gaze icy, already justifying everything he had done. But the moment the courtroom doors opened and Judge Judy lifted her eyes, her expression shifted. And as the truth slowly started to surface, the entire room seemed to forget how to breathe. Before it all unfolds, a reminder to share where you're watching from and subscribe for more intense courtroom moments. The son leaned back in his seat as if he owned the place, arms resting loosely, chin raised just enough to signal arrogance. He didn't even look at his mother beside him, as though acknowledging her would cost him something he refused to give. The camera focused on the woman, first a blind 70-year-old, her fragile fingers reaching along the edge of the defendant's table, trying to find a place that once felt familiar but no longer did. The faint tap of her cane echoed through the silence, each step reminding everyone she moved in darkness while the world pretended not to notice. Her son made no effort to help her sit. He barely shifted to give space, keeping his eyes locked on Judge Judy with a practiced smirk that felt almost rehearsed, worn like protection. Judge Judy studied him for a long, unreadable moment before breaking the silence. "Why is your mother standing?" He shrugged casually, dismissive, as if the question didn't matter. "I thought she was fine." The woman slowly lowered herself into the chair without assistance. Every movement was careful, measured, and painfully slow. She didn't complain. She didn't even look at him. Just folded her hands in her lap as though preparing herself for what was coming. The audience reacted with silent shock, widened eyes, and held breaths. Even the bailiff straightened slightly. Judge Judy leaned forward. "You didn't think she might need help? She is blind." His smirk faltered for a second, then returned. "She manages. She always makes things sound worse than they are." He tapped his fingers lightly on the desk. The mother turned slightly toward his voice. "I do not exaggerate," she said softly. Her words were gentle, but they carried a weight that filled the room. Judge Judy shifted her attention to her. "Mom, how did you get here today?" "I used a ride service," she replied. He said he was too busy. The son let out a small scoff, immediately drawing Judge Judy's sharp attention. "You find that funny?" "No," he replied quickly, though his expression betrayed him. The atmosphere in the room tightened. His earlier confidence began to look less like strength and more like an act. His leg moved restlessly, fingers tapping, his composure slipping. Judge Judy observed him closely, like a surgeon studying hidden damage beneath the surface. "Let me ask plainly," she said. "Why is your mother suing you?" "She's overreacting," he answered. "She left my house on her own. Now she wants money." The woman's grip tightened around her cane. Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. "Is that your version of events?" "That's the truth," he insisted. Silence pressed down on the room. Then Judge Judy spoke again, calm but precise. "Then explain why your timeline doesn't match hers." His smirk vanished. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time, his confidence cracked. Even though her voice was quiet, it took control of the entire courtroom. Every person leaned in instinctively, drawn to the weight of what was about to be revealed. The camera moved toward the woman again, capturing the slight tremor in her hands as she held them together. Her blindness did not weaken her presence, it sharpened it. Judge Judy softened slightly. "Mom, tell me what happened." The woman swallowed. "I live with my son," she began, gripping her cane tighter, "because I cannot see well and get confused easily when I'm alone." Her son rolled his eyes, visibly irritated, causing a ripple of discomfort in the room. She continued anyway. "I contributed. I paid for groceries, bills. I never wanted to be a burden. I cleaned when I could. I cooked when I could. I stayed out of the way when he had guests." The son sat with arms crossed, tapping his foot as though the entire situation annoyed him. Judge Judy noticed immediately. "Sit properly. Show respect." He froze, jaw clenched. The woman exhaled shakily and continued. "Then one day he told me I had to leave, that I was slowing his life down." She paused briefly. "He said I made everything too complicated." Judge Judy leaned in. "Did he give you any notice?" Any written warning? The woman shook her head. No, Your Honor. After dinner, he told me, and by morning my things were already at the door. A low murmur spread through the courtroom. Judge Judy's expression sharpened. Where did you go after that? The woman took a steady breath. A neighbor let me stay on her couch. I didn't want to call the police. I just hoped he would change his mind and let me return. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from the humiliation of having to say it aloud. The son scoffed again. She makes it sound worse, he muttered. Judge Judy raised a finger like a sharp warning. Do not interrupt her. The woman lowered her head, drawing strength from the silence around her. I only want my belongings back and the money I contributed, she said softly. I never wanted to fight him. Her voice cracked slightly. Not a full breakdown, but a visible fracture in her composure. The camera shifted to the son. His earlier confidence now flickered like a failing light. Judge Judy turned to him slowly, letting the mother's words hang in the air. Is that true? She asked, her tone calm but cutting. The courtroom went still as the son prepared to respond. His expression showed uncertainty for the first time. He opened his mouth with the confidence of someone who believed he still controlled the narrative. But his first words immediately undermined him. They twisted, contradicted, and the room caught it instantly. He cleared his throat, straightened his posture, and spoke as if reciting something rehearsed. First of all, he began, she chose to leave. She's dramatic. That's just how she is. A wave of discomfort moved through the gallery, not because of what he said, but the way he said it, as casually as if describing the weather. Judge Judy narrowed her eyes. Dramatic? She is 70 years old and blind. What exactly is she being dramatic about? He lifted his shoulders. She gets emotional. She exaggerates things. She said she was uncomfortable, so I told her she should go somewhere else to calm down. The woman turned toward his voice, brows tightening. That's not what happened, she whispered. Judge Judy raised a hand gently toward her. I've heard your testimony, she said, then turned sharply back to him. Now I want his version. The son leaned forward, eager to regain control. She left willingly. She packed her own things. Stop. Judge Judy cut in immediately. 5 minutes ago you said you placed her belongings at the door. Now you're saying she packed them herself. Which one is it? His mouth opened, closed, then opened again. A quiet gasp spread through the courtroom. Well, she started packing after I suggested it, he said quickly. No, Judge Judy replied, shaking her head. Words matter here. Either you put her belongings outside or she did it herself. Pick one. His confidence cracked further. She helped, she took some things out, but I was just trying to make it easier for her. The woman's shoulders stiffened, not in fear, but from the pain of hearing her reality rewritten in real time. Judge Judy tilted her head, studying him closely. Let me ask you something. If she left on her own, why was she crying when she left? He blinked, caught off guard. She gets emotional. That's what I meant. You said she left voluntarily, Judge Judy replied softly. Most people don't cry when doing something they want to do. His jaw tightened. His fingers began tapping the desk, fast as small signs of unraveling control. Judge Judy shifted her focus. Your mother says you gave her notice. No warning. No written communication. She says she woke up to her belongings outside. And I say she knew, he snapped. She knew it was time to move on. She just wants to make me look bad. The woman's lips parted, visibly hurt. The courtroom noticed. He didn't. He exhaled sharply and continued. Besides, we had a written agreement. She knew the rules of staying in my house. The room seemed to freeze. Judge Judy straightened. A written agreement? She repeated, her tone colder now. Yes, he said quickly. A contract. She steepled her fingers. Then produce it. In an instant, his confidence collapsed. He began searching his pockets, patting them repeatedly faster each time. Then his bag. Then the table. Papers scattered, a folded sheet, a crumpled receipt, an empty envelope. Nothing matched what he claimed. The courtroom watched in tense silence as his movements grew more frantic. Judge Judy's gaze hardened. You have 30 seconds to show me this written agreement you keep referring to. His breathing turned uneven, not loud but noticeable. The woman slowly turned toward the sound, her trembling lips sensing the collapse she had feared all along. I had it, the son insisted. It was right here, he insisted. My girlfriend put it in this folder. Judge Judy lifted a brow, clearly unimpressed. Your girlfriend is not on trial. You are. He swallowed hard. I'm telling you, it must have been misplaced. She snapped her fingers, one sharp, controlled, final. Stop talking. Just find it. He dug through the papers again, this time more frantic than confident. A utility bill, a fast food coupon, an employer noticed nothing close to a signed agreement. No contract. No proof. A low murmur spread through the courtroom. People recognized the pattern instantly. The louder the claim, the faster it collapsed. Judge Judy leaned back slightly, watching him with the calm certainty of someone who had seen this play out many times before. So, she said coolly, you brought everything except the one document that actually supports your case. His jaw tightened. I'm telling you I had it. She moved things around. She is blind, Judge Judy cut in sharply. The words hit like a gavel. The room reacted. The mother let out a shaky breath, something between relief and pain. The son tried again. Maybe it fell in the car. Or at home. I've had a lot going on. I can't track everything. You managed to track removing your mother from the house, Judge Judy replied. You managed to track putting her belongings on the curb. You managed to remove her from utility accounts. But you can't track a single document. His face tightened. The cracks in his confidence widened. And your timeline keeps changing, she added. Every answer shifts, do you realize that? Yes, he started, but nothing followed. No explanation, no defense. Behind him, the mother gripped her cane, knuckles pale. She said nothing. She didn't need to. The silence spoke for her. Judge Judy turned to her clerk. Bring me the plaintiff's file. The son jerked his head up. What file? The woman lifted her chin slightly, sensing the moment even without seeing it. Judge Judy placed a thick folder on the desk and tapped it once. Perhaps your mother kept better records than you did. The file landed with a heavy thud. The son flinched as if the contents themselves could wound him. Judge Judy opened it slowly and deliberately, each page turning with surgical precision. The soft rustle of paper filled the room. Do not speak unless I ask you to, she said without looking up. His knee bounced under the table, uncontrollable now, the first clear sign that he was losing control of the story he thought he owned. She lifted a page. This, she said, is a change of address form dated 6 weeks before you claim she left willingly. The son stiffened. That's not what it looks like. I only changed it temporarily. Temporarily? Judge Judy repeated. Her tone sharpened. So you redirected her mail without telling her? He hesitated. Yes, but I thought it would be easier to manage things. For you, she said flatly. Not a question in exposure. She pulled out another document, a utility transfer form, his signature clearly visible. And this, you removed her name and replaced it with yours. Did she authorize that? His breathing tightened. Panic began to surface under the fluorescent lights. She said I could handle the bills, he stammered. The mother's voice broke through, quiet but firm. I did not say that. I only asked you to read them to me. A collective reaction moved through the courtroom, disbelief, realization, shock. The son shifted violently in his seat. She doesn't remember conversations correctly. She, Judge Judy, slammed the file shut. The sound echoed like a final warning. Enough. He froze mid-sentence. Her voice lowered, almost calm now, which made it even more piercing. You took control of her mail, her accounts, her address, and then you removed her from the home she helped maintain. He tried to speak, but nothing came out cleanly. Panic tangled his thoughts, breaking his words apart before they could form. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. Why, she asked, does a son need this level of control over his blind mother unless he's hiding something? His eyes darted around the room but avoided the woman entirely. I was just trying to help, he muttered. No, she said quietly. You were managing her and hoping she wouldn't question it. The son sank lower in his chair. arrogance dissolving into something exposed and fragile. The mother pressed a hand to her chest, steadying herself as the truth settled over her. Judge Judy pushed the file back toward the clock. "We are not finished." She fixed her gaze on him. "Tell me, what exactly were you planning to do with her belongings?" His face drained. The unraveling was now complete. He tried to speak, but panic shattered his words before they could form. For the first time, the sun looked smaller than the truth surrounding him. The courtroom itself feels heavier, now dense, as if every breath of air has absorbed what was just exposed. Judge Judy remains perfectly still, her silence cutting deeper than any accusation. She watches him like someone observing a structure moments before collapse. Not with surprise, but certainty. "I asked you a question," she says quietly. "What were you going to do with your mother's belongings?" The son wipes his palms on his trousers, a clear sign his composure is slipping. I was going to organize them. Donate some, store some," he stammers. "Sell a few things, maybe." "Sell," Judy repeats, her expression tightening. The woman turns toward the word instantly. Her lips part slightly, her breath catching as she tightens her grip on her cane, grounding herself. "What exactly," Judy continues, leaning forward, "gave you the authority to sell anything belonging to a woman who trusted you with her care?" He falters. "She didn't need all of it. I was helping her." A wave of shocked murmurs spreads through the room. Judy's brows lift, warning, unmistakable. "Do not insult this courtroom with excuses like that. Not today." His breathing speeds up. His fingers tremble now, and the confidence he once carried refuses to return. It's gone completely. The woman lifts her hand slightly, as if reaching for confirmation in the air. "All my things," she whispers. "The photographs, my sewing machine, my wedding dress." He looks away, jaw tight. Her voice shakes more. "Those weren't just objects. They were my memories. I can't see anymore. Those were all I had." The room falls into a silence so deep it feels suffocating, not empty, but filled with judgment, empathy, and shared disbelief at what has been taken from her. Judge Judy's expression softens just slightly. "This isn't about clutter," she says, turning to him. "This is about dignity. Hers, not yours." That's when he finally breaks. "She never appreciates anything I do," he snaps. "She's impossible to live with. She complains, she moves things, she slows everything down." Judy raises her hand sharply. "Say it properly," she orders. "Say what you actually mean." He stares down at the desk, breathing uneven. Then it slips out. "She was in my way." The woman's shoulders curl inward, not dramatically, but enough to show the quiet devastation of being reduced to an obstacle in someone's life. Judy's voice drops, almost a whisper. "Say it again." He looks up confused. "What?" "Because truth," she says, "is a mirror, and I want you to see yourself clearly." His lips tremble. "She was in my way." A long pause follows. Judy leans back. "We are not finished." She gestures to the clerk. "Bring the next piece of evidence, and the audio recording." The son freezes. He knows exactly what is coming. His breathing becomes shallow, uneven. The courtroom feels tighter around him with every second. The clerk approaches and hands Judge Judy a small recording device. The son watches it like it's a trap snapping shut. Too late to escape. Too exposed to stay still. "Play it," Judy says. A click. Then static. And then her voice fragile, trembling, broken with fear. "Please, please call me back," the recording says. "I don't know what to do. I'm outside. I can't find my way. I just want to come home." The son flinches hard, as if the sound physically hits him. The courtroom goes completely silent. Not the usual pause of attention, but a heavy, suffocating stillness that feels like judgment itself. The woman lowers her head, unable to see the reactions around her, but feeling every shift in the air as the recording continues to play. "Please, I'm scared," the voice on the recording pleads. The son squeezes his eyes shut. When the audio ends, Judge Judy leans forward, elbows resting on the desk, her tone cold enough to freeze the room. "That," she says quietly, "is not a woman who left willingly." He stammers. She left the house upset and she didn't want." Don't finish that sentence, Judy interrupts sharply, because whatever comes next will be a lie. He grips the table harder, knuckles turning pale. You don't understand what it was like. She complains about everything. I can't do anything right. I needed space. Space, Judy repeats, so badly that you left your blind mother alone in the dark with no way to get back home. The woman inhales sharply, her body trembling. For the first time, the son looks at her directly, but she doesn't respond. She holds her cane tightly, as if it's the only thing keeping her grounded. Judge Judy opens the next file. Let's talk about these withdrawals. Multiple ATM transactions near your area. Electronics, restaurants, all from her account. Did she approve them? Yes, he says too quickly. She gave me money. She said I deserved it for helping her. The woman's voice rises faintly. I did not say that. His head snaps toward her. She doesn't remember things correctly. That's what I'm saying. She mixes things up, she imagines. Enough, Judy cuts in, raising a finger. She doesn't imagine anything. You do. The son's composure cracks further, pressure clearly building beneath the surface. The woman speaks again, her voice soft but devastating. I only gave him money because I thought it would make him visit me more, that he would sit with me for a while. I didn't know I was paying for his time. A collective gasp fills the courtroom. Even the bailiff shifts uncomfortably. Judge Judy closes the file slowly. The sound of it shutting echoes like a decision already made. Ring in the girlfriend, she tells the clerk. We're clearing up contradictions. The son goes pale. The person he once shifted blame onto is now the one who can undo everything. A shaky voice fills the courtroom again, and the room goes still as if even breathing has stopped. The clerk presses play. Static crackles. Then a voicemail begins. Hi, it's me. The woman's voice trembles through the speakers. Fragile. Thin, breaking under fear. I'm outside. I don't know where you are. I knocked. I called your name. I can't see anything. The courtroom feels tighter. The silence heavier, as if the air itself is holding its breath. I'm sorry, the recording continues. I didn't mean to upset you. Please open the door. I just need a little help. I just want to come inside. The son squeezes his eyes shut again, as though blocking it out could undo what's already been heard. People shift in their seats. A few faces turn away. Even the bailiff lowers his gaze. And, if you don't want me there anymore, the voice says faintly, just tell me. But don't leave me outside. It's cold, and I can't find the steps. A quiet gasp breaks from the gallery. Someone wipes their eyes. By the time the recording ends, the silence is no longer empty. It is full, heavy, and condemning. Judge Judy does not move. Her hands remain folded as she stares at the son with controlled intensity. That, she says slowly, is not a woman who left willingly. That is abandonment. He tries to speak. She left upset, she said she needed. Stop, Judy warns. We've heard her truth, not yours. The mother turns slightly toward the sound of the judge's voice, but it's the son's breathing. She reacts to the uneven, broken sound of someone losing control of his own story. Judge Judy lifts the file again. Your mother called you 6 times that night. You didn't answer a single call. His expression twists. I was tired. I needed a break. You needed distance, Judy replies quietly. She needed safety. Only one of you had the right to that. The mother presses a trembling hand to her chest, the memory still raw. Judge Judy leans back. We are now at the point where the evidence will either clear you or destroy you. The clerk opens the side door and footsteps echo through the courtroom. The son looks up and fear instantly floods his expression. His girlfriend enters, eyes downcast, carrying a truth she can no longer shield. The moment she steps inside, everything shifts. She walks in with her hands clasped tightly, moving like someone who has already lost the fight against what she knows. The son stiffens immediately. He understands her presence is not protection anymore. It is exposure. She stops near the witness stand, shoulders tense, breathing uneven. The camera holds on her face, not angry, not defiant, just afraid. Afraid of what she hid, and afraid of him. Judge Judy gestures calmly. "State your name." "My name is Melissa," she says, voice unsteady. The son straightens, trying to regain control. "It's fine," he mutters. "Just tell her what happened. Tell her you lost the paper." "Do not coach her," Judy says sharply. "Not here." Melissa's lips tremble. I didn't lose anything." The son's jaw locks. A wave moves through the courtroom, people sensing the fracture opening wider. Judy leans in. "So you were saying the written agreement he mentioned never existed?" Melissa hesitates. Her eyes flick to the mother, then drop to the floor. Finally she exhales. "No, it never existed. He told me to say that if anyone asked..." The son erupts. "What are you doing?" His voice cracks, echoing through the room. The bailiff steps forward slightly in warning. Judy does not react. "So he instructed you to lie?" she asks calmly. "Why?" Melissa swallows hard. "He said he needed to look more responsible. For the court, for everyone." A heavy silence settles. No drama, just the weight of realization. The mother turns toward Melissa. Her expression is hard to read, but her breathing shakes. It's the sound of someone reliving a wound they never fully healed. Judy lifts another page from the file. "This shows her utilities and mail were transferred to your address. Were you aware?" Melissa nods slowly. "He said it was temporary. He said she was getting too attached, that she needed to learn independence." The mother flinches, small, involuntary, but painful. Judy continues. "The night she was removed from the house, tell me exactly what happened." Melissa closes her eyes. "He told her she had to leave. He said if she didn't, he would call the police." She pauses, voice tightening. "And then he told me to lock the door after she left." The son strikes the table lightly with his fist. "She's lying. She's just angry because we argued." Judy's stare cuts him off instantly. "You do not get to rewrite her truth. Not anymore." Melissa wipes her cheek. "I regret it, every part of it." The courtroom is silent except for her shaky breathing. Judy folds her hands. "Why are you telling the truth now?" Melissa looks toward the mother. "She's blind," she whispers. And she still apologized in that voicemail. "I couldn't live with myself after hearing it." The son's face drains, completely pale, cornered, panicked. Melissa takes a slow breath, gathering what is left of her courage. "Your Honor, there's something else I need to say," she whispers. "Something he didn't want anyone to know about that night." The room changes instantly. The silence deepens. Even breathing feels suspended. Melissa stands frozen, hands shaking as if the truth itself is burning through her. The son leans forward, now not angry, but terrified. The mother remains still, sensing the shift through sound alone, her awareness sharpened by a lifetime in darkness. Judge Judy speaks softly. "Take your time." "What happened after she stepped outside?" Melissa closes her eyes. "When she left," she says quietly, "he told me to turn off the porch light." A collective gasp moves through the courtroom, then collapses into a suffocating silence. The mother inhales sharply, fingers tightening around her cane. The son shakes his head frantically. "She's exaggerating. She knows I didn't." "You will not interrupt her," Judy orders. Melissa continues, voice trembling. "He said if we kept the lights on, she'd find her way back inside. He said she needed to learn a lesson." The mother's breath catches, small but devastating in the silence. Melissa swallows hard. "I didn't want to. I swear I didn't. But he turned off the switch himself when I hesitated." Her eyes dropped to the floor. The whole porch went dark, and she reached for the railing but missed it. She couldn't see anything anymore. Judge Judy blinked slowly, as if holding herself together with restraint. Then she spoke. Melissa lifted her gaze, meeting the weight of the moment. "He told me to lock the door," she said. A wave of horrified whispers moved through the courtroom. The son sank deeper into his chair, as though gravity had finally turned on him. Judy's tone sharpened. "Did she have a phone?" "Yes," Melissa replied, voice shaking, but he kept lowering the volume every time it rang. He refused to answer. He even laughed and said she cries over everything. The son struck the table. "That's a lie." But no one leaned toward him anymore. The room had shifted toward her story, toward truth. Melissa's voice broke. She stood outside for almost 40 minutes. She called him, she knocked, she begged. The mother lifted a trembling hand to her mouth. The memory crashed back into her like a wave she couldn't stop. Melissa wiped her tears. She asked me once if I thought he'd ever let her back inside, and I said I didn't know, because I didn't. The entire courtroom felt suspended in a single breath. Judge Judy exhaled slowly, almost painfully. "Is there anything else you need to tell this court?" Melissa nodded. Her voice dropped to a whisper, but it landed like a shock wave. "He planned to put her belongings on the curb the next morning. He said she'd figure it out. He said she always does." The sun went pale. Judge Judy turned to him, her voice like cracking ice. "Stand up, because after what I've just heard, you and I are going to have a very different conversation." For the first time, he didn't argue. Something inside him had finally given way. He stood slowly, unsteady, breath shallow. The confidence he once wore like armor now hung off him in pieces. The courtroom was still, completely still, except for the faint tremor in his jaw. Judy let the silence stretch, deliberate, controlled. Not cruelty, but consequence. "Look at your mother," she said softly. He didn't. His eyes stayed locked on the desk, as if it could swallow him whole. "Look at your mother." Slowly, painfully, he turned. The mother lifted her face toward him. She couldn't see him, but she felt him there. The shift in air, the collapse of his certainty. Her expression wasn't anger. It wasn't revenge. It was something heavier, a grief that had waited too long to be acknowledged. Judy folded her hands. "You say you were overwhelmed," she said. "That you needed space, that she was in your way." He swallowed hard. I didn't know what else to do." "Yes, you did," Judy replied. "You could have asked for help. You could have spoken. Instead, you chose cruelty and called it convenience." His shoulders folded inward, the weight of it finally pressing down. Melissa stood off to the side, tears streaming, remorse and relief tangled together. Judy leaned forward again. "You left a blind 70-year-old woman outside in the dark. You ignored her calls. You locked the door. And you laughed." He covered his face. "No, I was angry. I was stupid. I just wanted to feel in control." Judy cut in. "To feel powerful. To feel free of responsibility." His hands fell. His eyes glistened with a truth he could no longer hold back. "I felt trapped," he whispered. "Like my life stopped when she moved in. Like everything became about her." The mother's lips parted, pain spreading across her face. "So you punished her for needing you?" Judy asked. No anger now, just disappointment. "I didn't want to hurt her," he said brokenly. "I just wanted my life back. I thought she'd be better off without me." The mother's voice came out like a quiet wound reopening. "I never wanted to stop your life," she whispered. "I only ever wanted to be part of it." His knees weakened slightly at the sound. Judy watched him closely. "We're done with excuses," she said. "Now we deal with consequences." He nodded faintly, defeated. But Judge Judy was no longer looking at him. She turns to the mother. "Ma'am," Judge Judy says gently, "did you know your son felt this way about you?" The woman hesitates, then answers with quiet devastation. "Yes, I knew. And I was going to leave him the house anyway." The courtroom freezes. The son's breath catches. Even Judge Judy's expression shifts slightly. Then the mother adds, softer but heavier, "I'm not sure I will anymore." The words hang in the air like a suspended tear, one drop capable of changing everything. And the son, once so certain of himself, looks like the ground has vanished beneath him. Judge Judy stays silent for a moment, letting it all settle. Not just the confession, but the emotional collapse it causes in the room. The mother folds her hands tightly in her lap, fingers trembling. "I was going to give him the house," she repeats quietly, almost trying to understand it herself. "I thought it would help him. I wanted to give him something stable, something of mine." The son wipes his face, overwhelmed, exposed in a way he never anticipated. He sinks back into his seat as if the weight of everything has doubled. Judge Judy leans forward, elbows on the desk, her tone steady but firmer now. "Mom, you do not owe anyone your home or your peace. Not even your son. The mother nods slowly, emotion clouding her sightless eyes. I know. I'm beginning to understand that. The camera shifts to the son smaller now. Withdrawn, the confidence gone entirely. What remains is guilt, heavy and unsteady across his face. Judge Judy turns to him. What you are facing today is not only legal, she says. It is moral, it is personal. She places her hand on the stack of documents, and it starts with restitution. He nods weakly, eyes lowered. You will return every item belonging to your mother, she continues. Anything missing, damaged, or sold will be replaced at your expense. Another nod. You will reimburse her for the night she was forced to stay elsewhere, Judy adds, her voice sharpening slightly. And for the emotional and practical harm caused by your actions. He finally speaks, not to defend himself, but to surrender. I'll do whatever she wants, I swear. The mother shifts slightly, her voice quiet but firm. I don't want revenge, she says. I want dignity, and I want him to understand what he did. A ripple of empathy moves through the courtroom. Judge Judy's tone softens just enough to acknowledge her. You're entitled to that. Then she turns back to the son. And he will understand, because I am not finished. The son looks up, alarmed. Not finished? No, she replies calmly. There is conduct in this case that goes beyond this courtroom. She lists it plainly. You redirected her mail. You transferred her utilities. You controlled her finances. He swallows hard, fear returning in full. I have a responsibility, Judy continues, to ensure that does not continue. She turns to the clerk. Prepare the documents. Her voice lowers slightly. There is another action this court will take, one you will not like. The son slowly raises his eyes, bracing himself not just for judgment, but for accountability finally arriving without delay. The courtroom feels quieter, not empty, but heavier, as if responsibility itself has taken up all remaining space. Judge Judy straightens, her expression shifting into something stiller than anger-controlled moral certainty. Let's be clear, she begins. This is not only about money or belongings. This is about dignity, respect, and responsibility. And you failed in all of them. The son swallows hard, tears forming at the edges of his eyes. What remains of his panic is transformed into something quieter regret that is nowhere left to hide. You treated your mother, Judy continues, as if her blindness was an inconvenience, as if her existence required justification. He flinches. The words land exactly where they are meant to. The mother sits still, hands folded, chin slightly raised toward the judge's voice. Though she cannot see the room, she feels every shift, the tone, the tension. Her son's uneven breathing. Melissa watches from the stand, guilt and honesty now mixed together, her expression heavy with what she chose to hide and what she finally revealed. Judge Judy's voice softens again, but it carries more weight, not less. She didn't ask for anything extraordinary. She asked for safety, for kindness, for not being left alone in the dark. The son closes his eyes. A tear slips down his cheek, not from denial, but recognition. The mother speaks next, her voice steady despite everything. I never wanted to take anything from him, she says. I only wanted to support him, not burden him. I wanted to be loved. Her words land gently, but they break something in him anyway. He turns toward her, voice barely holding together. I'm sorry, I was overwhelmed. I let my frustration turn into cruelty. I didn't mean to hurt you. The courtroom watches in complete silence as the defenses finally fall away. Judge Judy nods slightly, acknowledging the apology without granting it absolution. Truth is the beginning, she says, but it is not the end. You must change your behavior because your mother deserves more than a son who only recognizes her worth when consequences arrive. He wipes his face, shame now fully visible. No more hiding behind excuses. Then Judy turns to Melissa. You also bear responsibility, she says, but you came forward. That matters. Melissa nods, tears still falling, but lighter now carrying the weight of honesty instead of concealment. The mother takes a shaky breath still, trembling, but different now. Not broken, stronger, as if speaking the truth aloud finally gave her something back. Judge Judy straightens the stack of documents in front of her. I am ready to make my ruling, she says. But before I do, there is something both of you need to hear. She closes the file with calm precision. Because what comes next, she continues, is not only a decision. It is a lesson neither of you will forget. The courtroom leans in instinctively. Not because a verdict is expected, but because something deeper is coming. Judge Judy closes the file more gently this time, almost with respect for what it contains, even if she cannot respect what was done. Her gaze lifts slowly, settling on the son, not with anger, but with something heavier, measured disappointment that cuts deeper than shouting ever could. When I look at you, she begins quietly, I do not see a monster. I see someone who believed avoiding responsibility was easier than practicing compassion. The son's chin quivers. His eyes drop as shame settles over him like a physical weight. But easier, she adds, is not the same as right, and it is never the same as just. Her attention shifts to the mother. The woman tilts her head slightly toward the judge's voice, listening the way she always has, through tone, through feeling. You are a patient woman, Judy says, a forgiving woman, and someone who deserved far more than what you were given. The mother's lips press together tightly. Her breath catches quiet recognition of a pain finally acknowledged. Judge Judy turns back to the son. You missed something fundamental, she says. Elderly people do not become lesser versions of themselves. They become keepers of history, of memory, of wisdom. Her voice remains steady, but every word carries weight. And when life takes something from them, vision, mobility, independence, it becomes our privilege to support them, not our burden. The words land slowly, deeply reshaping the air in the room. The son wipes at his face, struggling to hold himself together. You treated your mother's vulnerability as if it were an inconvenience, Judy continues. You used her disability as justification instead of recognizing your own ability as a responsibility for care. Melissa lowers her gaze, tears slipping silently onto her hands. Even the bailiff's firm posture softens slightly. The weight of morality in the room is impossible to ignore. And let me say something clearly, Judge Judy begins, leaning forward. In my courtroom, we do not judge people by how they treat those above them. We judge them by how they treat those who depend on them. The son's breathing catches caught between regret and realization. Judy's voice drops lower, slower, each word landing with precision. You wanted independence, but independence built on the suffering of someone who once held you, raised you, cared for you, is not independence at all. It is avoidance. A wave of emotion passes through the gallery. Heads lower, eyes welling. The mother's hand tightens around her cane, but her chin lifts slightly, quiet dignity returning to her. For the first time, she appears stronger than before. Judge Judy straightens the documents in front of her. The shift in tone signals final judgment approaching. I am prepared to rule, she says. But understand this. This is not the end of the lesson. It is where excuses stop and truth takes over. She lifts the file. This is how it concludes. The courtroom holds its breath, suspended under the weight of what is about to be decided. The gavel rests in her hand, but she does not strike yet. Instead, she studies the son carefully, watching not just who he is now, but who he may become after this moment. He sits hunched, trembling slightly. The arrogance is gone. The pride is gone. Only shame remains, heavy and unfamiliar. Judge Judy exhales slowly, bringing a calm stillness over the room. This, she says, tapping the file lightly, is not only a case. It is a reminder that justice arrives not when it is convenient, but when it is necessary. She turns to the mother. You will receive full reimbursement for the nights you were displaced. You will be compensated for emotional and practical harm, and all of your belongings will be returned, every photograph, every keepsake, every piece of your life in the condition they were taken. The mother nods faintly, lips trembling. Thank you, she whispers. Not victory relief. Quiet, long overdue relief. Judge Judy shifts her attention back to the son. His eyes are now raised, but heavy with humiliation and the fragile hope for forgiveness. You will be responsible for storage costs, replacements, and restitution for anything missing or discarded, she says firmly. This is not optional. He nods immediately. I understand. Judy shakes her head slightly. No, you're beginning to understand, but you are not finished learning. She sets the file down and folds her hands. You redirected her mail, you controlled her accounts. You crossed both legal and moral boundaries. Her tone hardens slightly. For that reason, parts of this matter will be referred to Adult Protective Services. Your actions require oversight. The son inhales sharply, not in anger, but in fear. Not a punishment, but of truth, finally being acknowledged in full. The mother steadies herself on her cane. She does not look at him. She does not smile. Her silence is now a boundary firm, clear and long overdue. Judge Judy softens her voice, not for him, but for what the moment represents. Listen carefully, she says. You are not beyond redemption, but redemption does not come from words, it comes from sustained change. You owed your mother loyalty. Instead, you gave her neglect. If you ever want a relationship with her again, you will have to earn it, not demand it. The son breaks silent, tears slipping down his face. Mom, he whispers, but she does not respond. The distance between them has become too real, too newly defined to close with a single word. Judge Judy lifts the gavel, expression steady and final. This court rules in favor of the plaintiff. And let this be the moment you both stop repeating the past and begin something different. The gavel falls with a soft, decisive echo. Not dramatic. Final. The mother rises slowly, carrying a quiet dignity in every step. The son remains seated, staring downward, fully confronted by what remains when excuses are gone.